Hi, everyone. This is Sarah, the social worker, and I have three amazing individuals, moms, and just all around amazing women. I'm so thankful to have them here today so that we can talk about raising strong daughters. And today we have Dr. Monica Blied, Enjoli Lauderdale, and Jennifer Patrick. So I just want to introduce these awesome ladies.
Hey!
I just want to introduce these awesome ladies and share their bios with y'all. And later on, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to them. We will be including their social media pages at the end of this discussion. So first, I'd like to introduce Enjoli Lauderdale. Enjoli Lauderdale, better known as Anji, to her close friends and family, is a product of her colorful environment. Born and raised in sunny California, she studied acting in New York City and survived the grit of the big city. Anji now resides in Atlanta, Georgia. Hey, Georgia, where she began her current and most important chapter as a mother. Throughout her life, Enjoli has experienced heartache in the form of familial loss. Despite her losses, Anji remains a beacon of positivity and love to all those that she crosses paths with. She has an infectious spirit and her laugh could light up a room. Anji has always had an affinity for helping others and has decided to incorporate that mission into her latest venture, Ayo Sis. AYS or Ayo Sis is a space where women of different walks of life can share successes, their failures, and the journeys in between. Ayo Sis is designed to bridge the gap and bond women together through their shared experiences, with the focus being on the motherhood, financial independence, wellness, and spirituality. Anji has dedicated her life to sharing her story and the stories of the incredible women that she surrounds herself with. In Anji's unwavering faith and her strong Christian belief system that has helped her maintain her strength throughout the years, and although trials and tribulations have been the catalyst for Ayo Sis, knowing that she can positively impact so many people has given her a newfound purpose to transform lives of others through community and sisterhood. Enjoli Lauderdale at Ayo Sis, mom, daughter, badass.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce Jennifer Patrick. Jennifer Patrick obtained her bachelor's and master's degree in the field of social work. With over 7 years of experience and a passion for helping people find their true selves, Jennifer is skilled in assisting her clients with abuse history, depression, parenting skills, individual therapy, and life coaching through solution-focused therapy. Outside of work, she provides children facing adversity with strong, enduring relationships and has mentored at-risk youth for 7 years. She assisted in launching one of the first site-based parent partnerships for LGBT youth in the nation and has served as a board member for multiple organizations, including the League of United Latin American Citizens. Jennifer looks forward to obtaining her clinical license this year and resides in San Antonio, Texas, with her 5-year-old daughter, Isabella. Jennifer Patrick at Jen2641, mom, daughter, badass. And finally, I'd like to introduce Dr. Monica Ellis Blied. Dr. Blied is a licensed clinical psychologist, a certified chair yoga instructor, and life coach. She is also the mom of 2 daughters, a 9-month-old and a 12-year-old, as well as a 14-year-old stepson. She earned her doctorate in clinical psychology from Fuller Theological Seminary School of Psychology, where she also gained specialty training in the integration of faith and spirituality with psychological practice and research. Dr. Blied has expertise in helping people who are living with chronic medical conditions such as lupus, HIV, chronic pain, MS, TBI, cancer, and others. She works to help clients make sense of their suffering and reclaim purpose in their lives. In 2012, Dr. Blied was diagnosed with systemic lupus and fibromyalgia. At the time, she was working clinically with men and women living with HIV and AIDS and other chronic medical illnesses. She came to confront her ideas of what health looks like and gained a new perspective on life. Dr. Blied utilizes her clinical training, scientific understanding, and personal experiences to help clients navigate their life after diagnosis and successfully adjust to a new normal. She integrates biofeedback, mindfulness, meditation training, cognitive behavioral therapy, interviewing, health coaching, and other evidence-based practices into therapy to help clients achieve their goals. Dr. Blied is currently accepting new clients via telehealth anywhere in the states of California and New Jersey. She can be reached on social media at Dr. Blied on Instagram and Facebook, and on her website, which is www.drblied.com. Please welcome Dr. Monica Ellis Blied at Dr. Blied, Mom, Daughter, and Badass. So thank you, ladies, so much for joining me today and
Thank you.
allowing me to talk to you guys about raising strong daughters. I haven't made the step or had the privilege to become a mother yet, but I'm looking forward to learning so much from each and every one of you today. So what I'd like to do is just ask you guys some questions. Feel free to share your thoughts, and if you have any follow-on or things that you'd like to add to something else, the way for this to run smoothly is if we just wait for somebody to finish their thought and then go forward. So the first question I'd like to ask is, what does strength mean to you? So let's ask Dr. Blied. What does strength mean to you?
For me, strength means walking in your power. And I think part of that walking in your power is to be able to use your voice. So the way that I see that looking for our daughters and for myself as a daughter is not being silenced by our stories or by others who would discourage us from sharing our stories and from sharing our histories and from advocating for ourselves. Strength is walking in power, using your voice, speaking out for the good of yourself or the good of others, and just embracing all that, having the courage to stand out and embrace all that.
Thank you. Enjoli, what does strength mean to you, and how do you try to instill that in your daughters?
Strength definitely means putting God first. That is my main source and my fuel to get through my heartaches and my frustration, my pain, is that very faith driven. So in order to get through that, I always consult God, because He is my first and He is my last. So I don't care if it's anything. If I can't find something, if I'm stressed, if I'm going through something, I always consult Him. And I instill that in my daughters because that's where we get our help from. That's where we get our strength from. That's where we get our courage and our outlook on life. And especially in this pandemic right now, if you don't have that strong faith, it's going to be very hard for you to get to that next step in life. So I definitely try to be that example for my daughters, to pray in the morning, to pray when we go to bed. And it's a joy when I see them walking in those same footsteps, you know, as far as having that good, solid foundation.
That's awesome. Thank you. Jennifer, do you want to talk a little bit about what strength means to you and how you promote that within your family and to your daughters?
Sure, definitely. And I strongly agree with what they both stated as well. I think for me, strength is having the ability to be yourself and strongly believe in yourself. And I think when you have that, you have the confidence and the self-esteem needed to conquer whatever it is that you want to you know, whatever it is that you want to do or whatever goal it is that you have set out for yourself. So that is something I've really set out and doing with my daughter and trying to instill with her as well, by having her attain those small little goals and just helping her understand that it's okay to believe in yourself, even if you feel like you're going to fail. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I think each of you have touched on something that my parents instilled in me. And, you know, I hope that I can pass that on one day as well. But all of your daughters are very lucky to have strong women like you all to look up to. And I think you are definitely doing your part in raising the next generation of strong women. So thank you guys for that. I really appreciate that. My next question would be, what are the greatest rewards about being a mom to daughters? I know that sometimes people can say like, oh, girls they need this or they need that. I know growing up I was very into sports, and so my parents sacrificed a lot to like drive me everywhere and do things to help me reach my goals. So I guess sometimes people would call daughters high maintenance, but you know, just what are some awesome rewards or your greatest rewards that come from parenting daughters? And I guess we can start with Dr. Blied again.
Okay. So I have 2 girls, and as you mentioned during my bio, one is 12 and one is 9 months. And so now that I have this new baby, it's like seeing the world. I just love with young children, like seeing the world through their eyes, where there is a whole discovery. And I went through this whole process with my older daughter. And actually the age of Jen and Anji's children is like my favorite age, like 5 years old, 5, 6 years old, because like they love you. You and cuddle you, and then you get to like 11, 12, 13 and things shift. So I feel like, you know, my ideas of like how awesome having daughters is actually has shifted over time as well. Where in the beginning it was just like, oh, this is a little mini me and I can play dress up with them and you know, those kinds of things, to like, wow, you know, here's an individual that I can help to empower to like be her full self. And like, there is no glass ceiling. Well, there is, like in life, we want to be realistic, but like, there's nothing that you can't go for. Just like instilling in them this like confidence, like, yes, I'm a badass and I'm gonna speak out for myself and I'm gonna go for it. And like, you know, my only limitation is myself. Just being able to do that with girls and then seeing them walk in it is, you know, I guess you could do that with boys too, but like with women, it's something different. I'm going to go on for a little bit longer because this is important to me. So the way that my mom raised me was to be self-reliant as far as financially, where like, hey, don't depend on anyone for, you know, get your bills paid for your next meal, those things. Have your own. So that if you're in a situation that is, you know, harmful to your spirit, that's really toxic, you're not stuck because, you know, how else are you going to pay your bills or be able to feed your children? Mm-hmm. So I try to do that same thing for my girls. Although, you know, there's different norms in society as far as, you know, what women are expected to do. I'm like, hey, no matter what, you should be able to take care of yourself. So go to school, do your best, you know, those kinds of things. And I think that's what's really special.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Enjoli, would you like to add or answer the question of what are some of the greatest rewards of raising and that come from raising a daughter?
Yes, absolutely. For me, it's your little mini you that you see like in yourself, but of course you want a better version. You know what I'm saying? So it's like raising, it's like all the things that was instilled in you and now you're instilling in your daughter, but you're probably bringing new tactics. You're probably bringing old tactics from your grandmother or your mom that worked, and instilling those beautiful little things. And you're like, wow. And you're seeing yourself in your daughter. So I just think that's just a beautiful moment for me, as I am, raising a 7-year-old, now a 13-month-old. And then that difference between, seeing it, letting it replay all over again within your 13-month-old and the 7-year-old. But it's also just really focusing on, like, wow, seeing these little beauties just grow up, and you're seeing yourself in them, but like almost like a better version. So I just think that's just a beautiful trait for me as far as raising strong daughters, instilling those tactics.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Y'all are making me like want to have daughters. All right, Jennifer, can you kind of share some of the things that have been the greatest rewards raising Isabella? I've known Jennifer's daughter since before she was born, so I'm like the auntie, but auntie rewards are a little bit different than mommy rewards.
I think so. So I have to piggyback off of what they both said, really, because it's your mini me, right? And you want to see a better version of yourself. So with that, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because you just don't know what they're picking up. I mean, children pick up on
that's a good one.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Everything. So, and seeing the behaviors and the things that she's picking up on, I wasn't realizing I was doing that in front of her. So, just seeing her growth and seeing her be able to mature in the way that she communicates. And I think being able to do that with her has really helped her grow as well. My daughter, she's very shy. She doesn't like talking to strangers. And so setting those little goals for her has really been rewarding for me, whether it be, with socializing with other people or just academically, having her read something that she hated doing before. So really it's really rewarding just seeing your children accomplish those small tasks that they thought they couldn't do. Yeah.
Awesome. That's so
That's
cool.
good.
Yeah.
Learning tips.
And just to I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, just to piggyback off what she said, children are like sponges.
Yeah.
They soak up everything. So you definitely have to be mindful what you say, what you do around them. And sometimes you're like, where did that come from? And it came from you.
Right. Or like what Jen was saying, like, for better or worse, they're like,
yeah.
Little babies. So you may not realize like little things that like you kind of took for granted, like, oh, I'm a little selfish, like, look at this selfish little person. And it kind of like there's a mirror, a reflection of like, okay, how can I do better and model that, right, so that there's an upgrade, like you guys said.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like an extra bonus of raising daughters is it also forces parents to use self-reflection and to exercise those self-reflection skills. I know that's something I still need to work on. And I just have a cat. So seeing that you guys are growing every day is really awesome while you're helping your young ones grow as well. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for that. How do you face the challenges that come with parenting? As much as a blessing as parenting is, it's not all sunshines and rainbows, and we know that from growing up as a daughter, and then also now you all are mothers of daughters. So Dr. Blied, how do you face those challenges that occur?
Oh my goodness. So someone told me that life is both rainbows and shit shows.
That's a good one.
And that's what parenting is like. I think especially as you get to the tweens and teens. And I think the way to deal with that is to remember community and to remember that it really does take a village to raise a child. And so something that someone shared with me, like, it doesn't serve me and it doesn't serve my child to keep falling on the sword. you know, maybe me as a person am not the answer to every problem that my children has. Maybe I need to bring in her father to address this issue, or bring my grandmother or my mother and, you know, get some wisdom from them. So again, I think just like bringing in community and having the humility to be able to do that is really important. And then also realizing that, like, when you do that, it's actually a testament of strength as a mother, rather than like a weakness, you know, rather than saying like, oh, you know, I can't do it all. Like, oh my gosh, it's a beautiful thing that you can admit that, like, you're human and you have limitations, and your child needs more than you for, you know, everything that's, you know, kind of impacting her life.
Yeah, definitely.
That's good.
Enjoli, or Anji, how do you
You can call me Anji
Okay.
for short. It's the easiest.
tell me a little bit, or tell us a little bit on how you face those challenges when it comes to raising your daughters, and how we can help other parents face challenges as well.
Well, I have a little mini me right here, right now. So excuse me if it's real. And she's busy. But as far as like Monica said, it definitely does take a village. And I am so grateful for the community, for the village, for my mom, for my sis, because you can't do it all by yourself. You really can't. So I appreciate people stepping in, you know, and I feel like sometimes now in this generation, it's a lot of people who are, don't tell my child this or don't tell my child that, and they get so offensive. But, you know, you go back until, you know, back then when your grandmama was living and the whole block was in the business and, you know, correcting, because that's what they did. It was a community. Oh, I'm gonna tell your mama when she get home, you be scared, you know? So, you know, now what helps me is that village, is that community to help keep things in line. And that's my daughter now. And I just love the fact that we come in as a team. And sometimes you can't be Superwoman, the title Superwoman. And I feel like in some areas, you just need that support, and it's okay. Like Monica said, it's not a weakness. It's actually, it's actually show that you are powerful to even act. So I agree with that.
Thank you for sharing. Jennifer, do you want to talk to us a little bit about how you face challenges as a parent and raising a daughter?
Yeah, definitely. So I think there comes a time, no doubt, where every parent reaches the end of their rope, right? And I think in those times, it's really important to utilize the skills that we need, such as our coping skills. So walking away when it's time to walk away, especially during this time where we're having to work from home and, you know, homeschool our children at the same time. As much as we want to get everything done in that one session, or, you know, in that certain time frame that we set, that's not always realistic. So I've learned, especially in this time, that it's okay just to walk away. It's okay just to go outside and do another activity and come back to it later when we're both, you know, in a better space. But with that as well, reaching out to support. So I know for me personally, my parents have been a huge support. So whether it's FaceTiming, you know, and having my mom talk to her, you know, that's really been helpful for me as well. So yeah, that's what I would say.
So it sounds like a common theme in this is to rely on the support of others, whether that be your best friend, your sister, your mom, your grandma, but always having a support system in place to help you raise your daughters or children in general, and help you overcome the challenges that inevitably we all face.
Yes, definitely embrace it.
Okay. And I think there's like a saying, like when you work out and stuff and you're getting stronger, they're like, you just have to embrace the suck. Like, it's okay, you'll get through it. And then on the other side, really, like, the rewards are far greater than the challenges that you're facing in that moment. So
There was actually this morning on my church's live stream, there was an example that was made about how we can do more in community, do more by ourselves than, with others than by ourselves. And so there's a African proverb that goes along with it. It says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so I guess the person who holds the world record right now for the time that to complete a marathon, he just passed another world record. He's the first person to finish a marathon in under 2 hours, 26 miles in under 2 hours. And so he had already made the world record in fastest marathon, but he could never get that breaking point of under 2 hours. So what happened is he ran a marathon, and what he did was he had, I think, 40 something of the world's best runners pacing him along the way.
Oh, wow.
And with that, he was able to actually get it under 2 hours. So it doesn't count as like an official marathon because you can't have pacers. So in that book, but when you think about like what Pastor said, what God wants, what's best for us and kind of what works as mothers, it's like we go further and we accomplish more when we're in community, when we have people with us pacing as we go along this journey.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's good. Thank you for that word, Monica.
Yeah.
I like that. And I really like that proverb as well, because you can apply that to so many things, whether it's parenting, education, professional, personal. Having somebody to go that distance with you is so important. Thank you for sharing. Let's see. So to piggyback off of that, what tools are you teaching your daughters to face challenges or adversities that may occur in their lives as they grow older? So Dr. Blied, would you like to start?
Sure, yeah. So this one that I've used since my older daughter was younger.
Joy, come here.
I still am a firm believer, and I'm going to do it with my younger child, but I'm just kind of giving the kind of warning that it kind of bites you in the butt sometimes. Okay. So I let her speak her mind, not to a disrespectful point, but if there's something that's bothering her, something that she doesn't understand, like I was always the kid growing up like, well, why? Like, you want me to do that? Well, why? Like, it needs to make sense to me if you want me to obey. I'm not just gonna like blindly, and I think that is an important skill and tool to take into life, to take into the career and, all these different things, because like my mom says, closed mouth don't get fed. Like it's important to actually like speak up and speak out. And I think the training ground for that is within the household. So, of course this comes to bite me in the butt a couple of times. So I'm just like, who do you think you talking to? Kind of back stuff like, oh, okay, yeah. I'm trying to affirm this in her of having a voice and asking wise questions and making sure that things make sense to her. So yeah, that's my one thing.
That's awesome. Anji, what are some tools that you're instilling or sharing with your daughters as they grow older and to prepare them to face challenges that might occur along the way?
Well, I see a lot of maturity in my daughter. Some things that I did not see in myself as I was growing up. And I don't even think as a child I was even verbal or even had the ability to even think why or to ask these questions. So there are some boundaries, but I do give my daughter a full range to express herself and to speak her mind, to speak what's on her mind, and to express her feelings. And even though she's 7, we can sit up in the bed and have full-fledged conversations on, mommy, I didn't like that, or I didn't that made me feel sad. And then we kind of go into depth and why. So when hiccups and curveballs arise, I let her know that life is going to throw you those curveballs. Life is going to throw you those hiccups. And it's not what you get hit with, it's how you deal with it. So I just try to encourage her that, that's a part of life, and we're going to experience this as long as we live. So you want to keep living.
Yeah.
So, and I just try to explain to her that it's okay when you fail or when you get knocked down, but just get up bigger and go ahead and, go out stronger. And she does pretty good with that. So awesome. I think it's working great.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Jennifer, what are some things that you're teaching your daughter and how to better face challenges as they occur while she's growing up?
Yeah, definitely. So some tools that I'm providing her are different ways to express herself. So she's a little bit younger. She's 5 years old. And although she's speaking, she does not quite have the ability to articulate everything that she's feeling. So she acts it out in different ways. Or sometimes she's very mature, like your daughter, Angie, where she's able to kind of pull me to the side and talk. So one of the tools we've been really utilizing is coloring. So for her, being able to color a picture or being able to display the way that she's feeling has been something to really open up conversations for us. Or taking nightly walks has also been a really, really good thing for us. So I set aside time for her during the day where she knows that she has that space to kind of talk to me about whatever it is that's been on her mind or whatever it is that she couldn't quite get across during the day and different things like that. And then also just teaching her that there are times in life where she's going to fail and that it's okay. So just teaching her and providing her with the tool to have that strength in herself to overcome those fears, I think has been a really big and huge thing as well. Yeah.
That's good.
That's awesome. So it's awesome that you guys all have such wonderful and open lines of communication with your children. I think that that's something that's so important and something that also people could be struggling with or unsure of how to bring up certain topics with their children. So this question is for all of you. I'll start with Dr. Blied, but how do you, or what words of wisdom would you give parents who are watching this and they're struggling to have an open line of communication? How would you coach them into having healthier communication and becoming more open with their daughters?
So I'd like to take a couple minutes to think about that. I'm wondering if we can start with Jennifer and do reverse order.
Okay.
Sorry, Jen, I'm putting you on blast.
No, that's fine. So Sarah, I know you asked how, like, words of wisdom, right? So I would like to go back a little bit to what I said. So what I do, just so that she can open up to me, I really do set aside times during the day for us. So like for me, for example, it's our daily walk. So she knows that she has that time to talk to me. But words of wisdom for different parents, honestly, it's the quality time that we spend with our children, especially during this pandemic. I mean, I'm so happy and thankful for it, and I know it's horrible, but when else, I cannot think of another time where I've been able to spend so much quality time with my daughter, honestly. And it's been such a huge blessing, just being able to spend that quality time we didn't have before. Because before we were so busy with work and just everything that we had going on, even if we were spending the quality time, perhaps it was rushed or it just wasn't the same. And I feel now we have so much time just to do so many different things. So my best advice or word of wisdom would really be just to, slow down, stop, and just spend that quality time, even if it's just playing Barbies or asking your children what it is that they want to do. And you'd be surprised that a lot of times it's just sitting down and coloring, So that's what I would say. Yeah.
Quality time.
That's good.
The 5 love languages, quality time is like my love language. So I don't know where I picked that up from, but I'm assuming my parents probably spent a lot of time with me, hanging out with me. But Anji, would you like to add your input on some words of wisdom or ways that parents can strengthen their communication with their children, especially the father?
Yes, definitely. I would definitely have to go back to my faith. I definitely instill God. And that's where we get our source from. And even if my daughter come to me with a little bruise or a little, of course I kiss it and I pray for it, but I like, did you go to God first? Did you pray? You know? And she says, yes, mommy, but it still hurts. I was like, well, you just have to wait a minute, let God work. But and another thing, as far as my daughter is very affectionate, and quality time is definitely important and vital in our relationship, especially with the new baby. She's still trying to process. For 7 years, well, 6 years, she's been the only child. So now this new baby, this new sister on board, she's still trying to process that space. Okay, it's me, your time, it's sister time, and it's our time as well. And even in that, I try to express to her, mommy, love, or how we spend time maybe look a little slightly different than the baby time. She's still on the boob, so therefore I'm probably not going to have you on the boob. I'm probably going to be picking her up a little bit more, so it's not that mommy loved you any less. It's just that right now your sister is a little bit more needier. So that's our thing right now. I think definitely time and quality time is so vital in how we express our love.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Are you ready for us to circle back to you, Dr.?
Yeah. So what came to mind as these two phenomenal women were talking is something that another mom had taught me that I love for opening up communication. So instead of just saying like, how was your day? I say like, tell me about some roses and thorns today. So what were some roses? What were some sweet things that happened? What were some, highlights of the day? And then what were some thorns? Like, what were some things that kind of sucked or weren't that good? And so we just came into the practice of saying like, hey, what are some roses and thorns? And I would kind of give examples from my day. Just little tidbits, never burdening our children with our problems, but more like, hey, how was work? And one rose was I got to, get this from, during lunch or whatever. And, there was no traffic, and then a thorn was, you remember Dr. So-and-so who's, like narcissist that had to do with that person again, and then she would kind of like laugh, and then like she would share her roses and thorns. So that was appropriate for like the developmental level where she is now. When she was a little younger, I would say like, instead of like, how was your day after school? Like, hey, did you today? She's like, wait, what? Because they're so used to kind of just like, how's your day? Good. What did you learn? Nothing. Recess. Just getting, more the way that we try to explore what's going on for them, I think is really important, because kids these days are going through a lot. Like I feel like a lot more than because there is, internet bullying and a lot more access to technology, which is kind of both a virtue and a vice, or both a good and a bad thing. So there's a lot more to process.
I would just like to add, I think when spending quality time with our children as well, I think it's really vital that we put away our phones and social media and all of that, and that we pay attention to our children as well, because they pick up on those things.
Right.
Yeah. That's very true. I used to work with children before I started doing the social worker and before I moved to Columbus, but they taught me more things, and they are like 4 or 5 years old, and they're like, you need to do this with your phone and do that. I don't even, how do you know how to do that? But it's something that they learn without somebody actually So I guess to piggyback off opening lines of communication, what are some like your favorite mommy and me activities? I know we talked a lot about quality time, but what are just some fun things that you and your daughters like to do together? So Enjoli, would you like to start?
Sure. I'm sorry, guys, but I have like a little 13-month-old baby, and she is being so busy, and I'm trying to stop her, and like,
oh no, it's fine.
She's making a mess, but oh Lord. Okay, but some quality time, some little mommy and me. I am very, oh my gosh, I'm very kind of like that mommy and me. Let's just do a party just because. I remember what was it? Before the baby, me and my daughters, we did like a mommy and me pumpkin sleepover. We did a Santa helpers. It was just so fun. But I always like bringing creative things for us to do. But just me and her, we love spending time outside. We love the outside, and letting her just be free and letting her just do her cartwheels. Let's get a book and just really just spending that quality time. So
that's wonderful. Jennifer, would you like to go next?
Definitely. So I love a lot of mommy and me activities, and I know that's something that you probably already know. A big thing I like to do with my daughter is I like traveling, and I know that's something that's difficult for a lot of parents to do, but I found ever since she was little, she's just very easy to travel with. So that's something I really enjoy doing with my daughter. But more little activities, I've already stated it multiple times, is we love taking walks and we love going outside. She's very active. She loves staying busy. So that's another thing. And we also love having movie nights. Once a week on Friday, we'll just, I'll let her pick a movie and we'll just sit on the couch. We'll get snacks. We'll make s'mores on the stove. And she loves doing things like that and dancing, just, putting on I don't dance, but she loves dancing. So we'll put on like a YouTube video and we'll learn like a dance, and then we'll perform it, together at the end. So just little things like that. Yeah.
Dr. Blied?
Yeah, so for me, so I also love traveling with my daughter. My older daughter, she's actually a gold member with we've gone on so many cruises together, like all inclusive and things like that. But I'd say for me, like mommy and me has shifted over the years. When she was, I think 4 years old is when I was diagnosed with lupus. And what comes along with that is a lot of pain in my body and a lot of fatigue. And so the things that I used to do before, it's really evolved. So like I used to, want to be really active with her, or she wants to, like run around and things like that. I can't do like mommy's tired. And so it's just like, okay, adapting to my new normal, what can we do? Mm-hmm. So our time together has shifted where, instead of maybe, doing, relay races together, we are doing a movie night, or we're like playing cards, like we love skip 'em. So, what are things that we can do that are fun together, that are, keeping us like engaged and connecting, but like seated, because I can't, stand for too long, things like that. And so I would share with the moms who are watching, if you do have some, medical limitations or physical limitations, just be compassionate with yourself, because for me, that took years to come to terms with and to accept, and not feeling guilty, like, oh man, my, daughter wants to, play tea party, but I'm too tired. So just, kind of adjusting to what can you do, and then making the most out of that.
Awesome. That's good. Thank you for sharing that. My auntie and me time that I like to do is with Isabella, we do makeup. She's very skilled in makeup now. She knows how to contour and, all that fun stuff. I taught her at a very young age, so she'll be ready when the time comes for makeup. You'll know what to do. But thank you all for sharing those. And we have about 6 minutes. So what I'd like to do now is just ask each of you to kind of think of your daughters, and then if they were to watch this in like 20 years from now, when they have a child of their own, or they're off in school or whatever their lives are taking them, what is one thing that you would want them to hold near and dear to their heart, no matter what challenges or what great things are happening in their lives? So I don't know who would like to start first, or if you want a second to digest it. But I think it would really it would resonate not only with other parents, but daughters who are watching this as well. So
I guess I would go first.
Okay, great.
I definitely want to make my daughter proud. And she tells me all the time, Mommy, I want to be just like you. So when she says things like that, it really boosts me and boasts me up. Like, you know, children are sponges. So I'm very mindful of, you know, what I say, how I say it, and what I do in front of her, because I want to be that, you know, that example. And no, we're not perfect. No, I still get it wrong sometimes, and it's okay. But if she was to watch this, 20 years from now, I want her to say like, wow, my mom is awesome. And, you know, she did her best, you know, and that's all we can as parents is do our best. And when we do our best in love and know from the heart that we are doing everything that we can, then I think you've won. You made it. And definitely instilling, you know, of course, my foundation is God, and, you know, through Him we can do anything. You know, anything is possible. And just keeping that faith prevalent and close to your heart.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Dr. Blied, Jennifer, who would like to go next?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I would want my daughter to know that I love and support her unconditionally. You know, in 20 years from now, she better have gone to school and college.
Yes.
No question. Sorry. But honestly, I think support and love, to me, those things are huge. And that if she ever needs anything, she's, you know, I'm always open and I love her. And to me, that's the biggest thing I would want her to take away from this.
That's beautiful. Thank you. And Dr. Blythe?
Yeah, for me, I want my daughters to know you are enough. Period. You know, not like semicolon, comma, like, no, you are enough.
That's
you know,
good.
No matter what people try to tell you differently, or the world or media, whatever, you are enough just the way that you are. You are a masterpiece. And although you may also be a work in progress, both are true. And one doesn't weigh more than the other. So I would just hope that, you know, 20 years from now or even sooner, she would really kind of have that ingrained in her mind, in her spirit, and in her heart, knowing like, I am enough.
That's good.
That's
I love that. Mm-hmm.
That's
My daughter too. She's enough. We are enough.
Yeah.
Us women, we are enough.
Yes, we are enough. And I truly appreciate and want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today. And thank your daughters for allowing you to have some time away from them to come and share your words of wisdom. And I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend and happy Mother's Day next Sunday.
Woo!
Enjoy your time together and stay safe and stay healthy. And thank you again for
Uncle, put me in the pool.
Thank you so much.
I'm gonna go in the pool too.
Did you see that?
I
Oh
could
my
hear
God.
her.
You guys are gonna probably have to edit